Hello, everybody, and welcome to Real People, Real Stories, where we interview people just like you and me about how they are using these wonderful ASEA redox signaling molecules. I'm Kathleen Oliveri. I'm your co-host, along with Dr. Barbie Phillips. And today, boy, we have a treat for y'all. We will be interviewing a very special guest that we will get to, but I want to also remind you that when we're talking tonight, we want to be sure that you understand that we're not diagnosing, treating, or trying to cure any disease or illness. We are simply just stating how these molecules and the ASEA products have helped us. The ASEA products that we'll be talking about tonight, ASEA redox signaling molecules in liquid and also gel form. These are two products that I use all the time, and we'll be talking about these. And if you don't know what ASEA redox signaling molecules are, well, redox signaling molecules are already native to our body. However, as we get older, we don't make as many as we used to, and we need those for cell communication. Because one thing I do know is that when I have healthy cells, I have healthy organs. When I have healthy organs, I have a healthier body, and that's what we all want. And supplementing what's already in my body with ASEA redox signaling molecules is the way to go. So tonight, I would like to now turn it over to Dr. Barbie Phillips, who will introduce herself as well as our guest today.
Thank you, Kathleen, for that introduction, and welcome everyone. We're so happy you're with us tonight. My name is Dr. Barbie Phillips, and I'm a chiropractic physician for people and animals. I was introduced to these molecules about 4.5 years ago, and they certainly have transformed my life as well as those as a lot of my animal clients and human clients. But without any further ado, I want to introduce a fellow equestrian lover, Peggy Foutz, and we're so excited to have you tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. And first of all, we would like to have you tell us a little bit about your history, where you're from, what your background is, and just share a little bit of information about who you are with us.
Well, thank you, Dr. Barbie. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here tonight. And I appreciate everything you and Kathleen are doing to help others learn. And thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Some of you are just here to support me. Thank you. So when I first got asked to do this, I wasn't sure, I could talk for longer than 5 minutes, but now I know I can. But this is also something that I had on my as a goal for me to do a video, and I guess I'm really jumping right in there. So there we go. So I've asked around to see what others would want to hear, and that's what gave me what I'm going to be sharing tonight. And I'm just praying that there's something that will help and encourage everyone here. And so for anyone who doesn't know, I am in Little River, South Carolina, where Tropical Storm Debbie is coming through. We had a tornado warning just a few minutes ago. I was holding my breath, but it wasn't here, so we're good. But I have actually lived all over the country, and I was looking, there are some people from back in Ohio I see on this call, so I'm excited about having them here. But I've actually lived in 13 states in my lifetime. My husband was in the newspaper industry, but because of moving all over the country, I have had the opportunity of meeting some really amazing people, many of whom have impacted my life and made me the person I am today. We also celebrated 40 years of marriage this year. And we love going to concerts, baseball games, high school football, and basketball games, and all kinds of things like that. So, my hobbies, I enjoy horse riding. I'm in the garden club. I love gardening. I'm in Kiwanis, which is a community organization focused on working with kids. I'm in our Heather Glen, which is where I live. We have a women's group. I rejoined the Greenville Business and Professional Women's Group. That's where I used to live in Ohio, because I figured I could still help them here. And also am part of several other local networking groups. And so I actually retired from the financial services industry. I worked in that industry for 35 plus years and loved the people I worked with. I was very blessed. If I knew back then, what I know now, I might have done things differently, who knows? But I think that everything that happens in life happens for a reason. And so I was a registered administrative assistant. I never wanted to be a financial advisor. I did not want to be responsible for people's money, but I love the industry and I love the people I worked with. So my story with ASEA started about 6 years ago. My brother, I was hoping he'd be on the call tonight, but he's not. Actually, he started talking to us about it. At that point in time, I was like, oh no, we don't need that. We're good. And really what I was thinking in the back of my mind was, if I get that, I have to pay extra money. It's not covered by insurance. No, I'm not doing it. Thought we were doing fine. And so then life changes, as it does, as we've all seen it do from time to time. My husband had a heart attack 4.5 years ago, January 5th of 2020. So, that changed things. And it happened so quick. Sunday morning, he said he wasn't feeling good. We went to the urgent care. They sent us to the emergency room. The emergency room sent us to, cardiac, to the hospital. And it all happened so quick that, I was just like, I knew there was an issue. So we were there Sunday morning, Monday morning, they ran tests. Of course, I had to go into the office to clean up my desk and before I could go to the hospital. I was one of those people. But anyway, so I went at like 6 o'clock in the morning, done by 7, told him what was going on, left for the hospital. And then by that afternoon, he was having 2 stents put in. So then we was home a couple of days later, and my brother Steve sent us a case of the Redox. And because I trusted my brother, I could have delved. I'm not a researcher. Some people are. Barbie, I know you are. I am not a researcher. I have to trust the person, and all my life I've been that way. I trusted the person that brought it to me. I knew them, and I felt like I could believe what they said. And so, so then he started taking it. A couple weeks later, he stopped. He said, "Oh, I don't think it's doing me any good." And I thought, well, I've got it. I'm going to start taking it because, and the things I was wanting to prevent, my dad had had quadruple bypass surgery when he was in his late 50s. My younger sister, who's 6 years younger than I am, had already had a heart attack 7 years ago. And there were bone density issues in myself on my mom's side that I, didn't want to happen to me. So, so I started taking it, and then, and I believed it enough that I just signed up to order it. And so then, 3 months later, so January's heart attack, February he started his cardiac rehab. He started that 1 week. He walked in the cardiac rehab, his nose started bleeding. And they could get it to stop. And they walked him down to the emergency room and they stuffed it with a rhino rocket. And if you don't know what that is, it's worse than what it sounds. Told him to come back in 3 days, have that out. He went back in 3 days, is still bleeding. They sent him to an ear, nose, throat specialist. The ear, nose, throat specialist said, oh, well, they should have known when you're on 2 blood thinners like you are, they have to leave it in for a week. Stuffed it back up. Another week went by. Next month, that was Valentine's Day. Next month was my birthday in March. Same thing. Nosebleed, rhino rocket, week of no sleep, no eating. He did lose some weight, by the way. I don't recommend it as a diet method. So then the next month, it was the other end. And we had come back from the proctologist. I'd left work early to take in the proctologist. We let him out in the house and we thought everything was fine. I went to pick up the groceries at the Kroger pickup and took him forever to get my order out. Had to stop by the office, pick up something I forgot. Picked up my phone about 45 minutes later, and there's a text from my husband, please come home. I got home. He was in his recliner chair by then, but he had passed out in the house, wrenched his back against the wall, somehow made it to his recliner chair. 3 hours later, 9 o'clock that night, he couldn't get out of his chair. Had to call the paramedics, rushed him to the hospital. They examined him, sent him home with a muscle relaxant. I was like, okay. So then at that point, we went back to the cardiologist's office and said, hey, we got to change this blood thinner. We knew, once, you're suspicious, twice, you're like, what's going on here? 3 times, 3 strikes, you're out, right? So, and then we went back to the cardiologist. He said, well, he doesn't need to be on this. We'll just take him off of it. I was like, why did we do that sooner? But that's okay. So we live and learn. So then So we're both doing fine. Keith goes up to the fitness center. He spends about an hour and a half every day, doing his little steps. For me, the treadmill is boring. I'd much rather walk outside. That's okay. I'm just glad he does it. I ride a horse, and Barbie, you know that when you ride horses, you get sore and stiff after you get out of the saddle. I am not that way anymore. I used to be that way back when I rode back in 2013. I had a horse riding accident. So I really hadn't been riding for the last 10 years before I retired. I can ride now and I get out of the saddle. I'm fine. I'm good. And I just feel better. Again, so all these things are things that I've noticed. And so then the things I want to think are important for everybody to know is that everything happens for a reason, and that each step in life prepares us for the next. There are so many things that have happened in my life that have brought me to the point where I am today. I had a wonderful friend ask me to join the Business Success Council. It was a branch of the chamber in Bend, Oregon, when we lived there. And I didn't want to do it because I thought I was new to the area. I didn't know people. I thought, how can I contribute to these people? But ended up, I did that for 10 years. We organized, professional networking, programs for business people to come and network and learn, and got to meet a lot of people that way. But that's what stepped me up. Then when we moved to Ohio, we owned the local weekly newspaper there, and so we found ourselves in the middle of everything. So I got asked to be on the board for Big Brothers Big Sisters, and I joined the Business of Professional Women's Group, and we were helped with various fundraisers, Kiwanis, United Way, other things, March of Dimes, I don't know, several other things that were in the area. And because of that, I gained experience asking people for money. I was always asking for donations. In fact, sometimes I laughed and said, I laughed that people would start running the other way whenever they saw me walking down the street, because they knew I was going to ask for a donation for something. And so that, and when I'd ask people, it was okay if they said no. I understand not everybody can support everything, but when they say yes, and it would just make me so excited. And then I go on to the next person. That's one principle that I learned because of that. And then, funny story is Lou Holtz, if you know who he was the Notre Dame coach. He spoke to for a fundraising event for Big Brothers Big Sisters. So I had an opportunity to meet him in person. And everybody laughed, it was making fun of me and said, asking for donations. So I did. I asked him to buy a duck ticket. I wasn't successful, but hey, I did ask. Then I also learned the value of following up. And guys, people are just busy. They've got the cares of everything that they've got in their lives. And so many times they were more than willing to give, or to look, in this case, look at this business, look at these products. But they're just busy, and sometimes they just need some gentle guidance, some gentle following up. But anyway, but make sure you do what you tell people you're going to do. And if you tell somebody you're going to do it, you do it. So these are two lessons that I learned, and they apply to what I do today.
Peggy, I'm gonna ask a question real quick.
Sure.
Just so I'm clear, your husband, he started the molecules,
Oh,
but
yeah.
then he stopped.
I left off one minor detail. When we got home from the emergency room, I handed him the cup and I said, here, drink this. And he'd been drinking it ever since.
Okay.
Thank you, Barbie.
I wondered.
Somehow
Okay,
I always forget that part.
And
Don't
how
ask me
much,
why.
how much does he drink now? And then how much do you drink now? Just kind of your maintenance dose.
Yeah, Barbie, when we started this for the first 3 years, all I did was the 2 ounces morning and 2 ounces at night.
Okay.
So 4 ounces a day. But now, as we're doing, we do at least 6 ounces. Again, that is now what used to be the 8 ounces.
Okay.
So yeah, we do at least 6 and sometimes 8 a day. It depends. I won't say I'm cheap, but I will say I'm frugal.
Right. And then with your horseback riding, you noticed that you're not sore. And of course you had your injury 10 years ago. And so you've recovered from that. Was that a gradual thing you noticed about not being sore? Was that after a period of time on your product? also with your husband? Were his changes after a period of time, or did you notice things kind of right away? I know some people are different with that.
For me, Barbie, and that was one of the things I was going to mention, is the fact that, people that have, this is my personal observation, people that have serious health challenges, I've seen have immediate, faster and more dramatic changes. For me, and I've also always talked to I have an older sister, she's 71, tennis champion and all this kind of stuff. And we've been fortunate to have good health. For us to see those changes, I have to think hard. So some of the things, again, I've noticed are my needs better. Just overall health and things of that nature. I'll tell you what, is my knee perfect? No, but does it keep me from doing things that I need to do? It doesn't keep me from doing anything that I want to do. And I do notice a difference when I don't use this in the morning, and I notice a difference when I do.
So do you rub the gel on your knee? Is that what you do? And do you use that other places?
Yes, this gel I was started to use. I have a client that used it because she has a serious bacterial sinus thing. She's the one that really, I'm sorry to say it, but she's really the one that she feels like this has saved her life. So I started using it. I use it in the morning before I get up, stuffy morning head feeling. I use it if I have a cold, I'll rub it on my throat. I use it for bug bites, insect bites, mosquito bites. I use it under my armpits, again, any place, and I use it on the bottoms of my feet. Again, anywhere that it can get to your lymph nodes. I feel like, again, first thing I get up in the morning, I put it on, again, put it on after I shower. But, I just kind of feel like it's my superpower.
Okay.
I feel like Superwoman when I put it on. That's all I can say. This morning I went to a strength tone weight class, training class, and I started a class and I was like, oh, my knees, and I put it on my neck and I was good, for the rest of the class. So those are some things. So the things I've noticed are overall good health. I was not a person that observed it. I did not keep the tracker like you're supposed to. So that's why I have problems in seeing things. But those are the things that I've noticed that have helped.
And you
so
mentioned also, Peggy, you mentioned when you were not consistent at a certain dose, you could notice a difference. Is that right?
Yeah. I've never really had a lot of issues, so I can't say that I paid attention, but again, when I don't use the Renew 28, then I might see something, feel something.
Okay.
Otherwise, for the most part, again, and so this woman client of mine, when she started using this for a sinus, that made me want to use it more.
And we know it's not treating the sinus issue, but it does help with the inflammatory process. So putting that around the sinus area, helping that. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
And so it's something for our listeners to really understand what you're saying too, is it's important to use these products consistently. Would you say that that's very important?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I would not miss my Redox. I would not miss my Redox. I don't think I've missed it ever in the last 5 years. And that is my biggest problem. One of my biggest challenges is when people order it and they do not take it. They'll start doing good, and then all of a sudden they're slipping, and I'm like, what's going on? And then they'll say, oh, well, I've got these extra bottles of Redox. I found another case of Redox in my house. and then you're going, oh my gosh, they could be so much better if they would just take it consistently. And Leland, who's on this call, he's told me to recommend that they set an alarm in their phone to the times that they should take it. It takes 21 days to develop a habit.
Right.
So,
and it's so important for anyone that's viewing this to understand, like you say, about the habits, but to also take time to become educated. And that's what we want people to also know. That's what we're all here for, is to guide and educate, and for people to not try to do this on their own. That's why we, don't recommend they buy it online at any site. You get from a reputable associate, so that you can get that coaching, you can get that guidance, and we can, guide you along the way. And so we want our listeners to really understand that, you know, you don't just buy the product and then you figure it out, but there's people to walk alongside you. So that's some valid point. So Peggy, do you have any kind of thoughts to wrap this up for our listeners? Then I would like to leave just a little time for our viewers to ask questions of you if they would like to.
Sure, Barbie. I think one of the things that that I want to tell people is that, you know, God keeps putting people in our paths, in our lives, in our paths that need these products. We're looking for people that are looking for these. We are not pushing it. We are not selling it. We're sharing it, and if people were looking for something to answers for their issues, this could be it. And what if it took care of everything? You really don't know till you get on the products. But the people that do get on the products, it warms my heart to hear their stories when they share them. It's amazing. And so one of the things, I have 2 affirmations. Well, I have a whole page of affirmations I do every morning. I should do them every night, but I at least do them once a day. And the first sentence of that says, I am a child of the King in the will of God and can do all things through Christ who gives me the strength. And then the last sentence of every morning goes, today is a brand new day and it's mine to use in a marvelously productive way. And I think if you just keep those things in mind, you can do whatever it is you need to do.
Very good. Very good. Thank you so much. What great information, Peggy. I'm so excited that you were able to come on tonight and share that information. I would like to open it up now to any of our viewers that have a question for Peggy. You're welcome to turn your camera on and unmute if you'd like to ask her a question. We have just a few minutes left on our Zoom. Any takers out there?
Hey, Erlene.
Hi. I guess if it's okay, I'll say I've been taking it a little more, maybe 4 months now, and I was sort of like Peggy. I didn't have any substantial issues, but I had a hip replacement, and you know, you have back pain, you have this kind of pain, you had knee pain, and I was putting stuff on my knees every night, like the Voltaren kind of stuff, and I have been taking the Redox just by drinking it. I don't use the Redox cream consistently. I might put it on my face sometimes. I might put it other places, but not consistently. So I'll have to try to do that. But I know that my knees don't hurt anymore. I think I do have more energy. I don't know if that's just a progression of maybe because, you know, now I'm better from my hips or what, or hip or whatever, but I can't deny the fact that I'm feeling better. And
Wonderful.
so I'm sort of like Peggy, you know,
That's
I don't have anything miraculous, but it seems to be helping. So I don't want to give it up
great.
yet.
Thank you for sharing. That's wonderful. Patricia, did you have a question?
I do. I have a question for Peggy and a thank you to you and to Peggy and all. I was intrigued with the cardiac condition. My husband happens to be going through some things right now. We're looking for clarity and whether some intervention needs to happen, and want to avoid what your precious man experienced. Did you find that after using the ASEA, there were some markers or some things that stabilized, or do you have any input or any comments on ASEA quantities and remediation or prevention with cardiac blockages, ischemia? Actually, I know we can't talk about it, but just your experience.
Patricia, I just know that he has more energy and he is better, you know, that he feels like doing all these things that he didn't used to be able to do. He is, you know, this was quite a process for us. I mean, we had a gentleman who all he did was work and never drank water, and you know, was just, you know, it just always worked. And then so now he feels like going up to, and even on the, you know, so-called bad days, you know, he still does it. So blood work, you know, I think would be the best thing, Patricia, you know, just have his blood work done, and you'll see that in the blood work, I think. But yeah, that's.
And I might interject here. that, the redox molecules do work on 5 major pathways. And one is the immune system. We've got the inflammatory response. We have cardiovascular health, healthy digestion, and hormone modulation. So even though we're not treating those conditions, it is working on those pathways and helping our body heal at the cellular level. And they have research that's showing that. So
Yeah, I'm counting on that. We're
yes,
using we're
yes.
just curious. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Other questions? Deb, did you have a question?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Yes, I did. Peggy, you did a really good job. Just wanted you to
Thanks,
know that
Deb.
first of all. I have a question, wondering if this product can be taken while you're taking other medications, if there's any problem with that interaction.
Dr. Barbie, I'm going to throw that one back to you. You're the expert
Great,
there.
great question. There is no interference with any medication. As we know, the redox molecules are non-toxic, and so you can take them alongside medications. Obviously, if you're under a physician's care, you're welcome to talk to your physicians, but there are no side effects or interactions.
Okay, and then another question, for the gel 28 that Peggy mentioned, she would put all over different areas, primarily on lymph nodes areas. Does it need to be put in that, or can it just be put where your pain is? Like if you have a bad neck?
Peggy, would you like to answer that?
Sure, either is fine.
Uh-huh.
Again, I do the lymph because one of our, we have a naturopathic doctor or naturopath, I think, that's on our, that posts these things, and she's the one that talked about the lymph nodes, and that's why I started using it there. It's actually, Deb, it's anti-wrinkle. It's what it's marketed as, but the things that we found it to do are way beyond that. So, yeah.
Very
Okay,
good.
and does it, I'm sorry, one more question. Does it work without taking the liquid? Or do you have to take them both?
It will work without taking the liquid. It will be more effective if you're able to do both. Yes.
Okay, all
That's
right,
good.
thank you.
Yeah,
When
the
I
liquid
remember-
redox is designed to work from the inside out, and the gel is working on the outside in. Now, remember, redox molecules are very smart, so you might put them on somewhere that you have discomfort, but if another area of your body needs it whenever it gets absorbed, it's going to go to the most emergency first. So we can certainly apply it to those uncomfortable areas, but just believe in they're smart and they're going to do what they do. That's why sometimes we don't get the response right in an area as quickly as we think, because it might be working on something else. We just don't know. But we do know that given enough time and using enough product, whether it's the gel or the liquid, that eventually our body's going to start healing at that cellular level. And then that accumulative effect over time, we are going to become healthier.
Okay.
And I remember Peggy telling me at the beginning, if you had pain, because I treated my husband, you do it 3 times within 5 minutes, right? That's, the gel.
Great point, Arlene.
Yeah.
Great point. 3 times in 5 minutes. Yeah.
For the pain.
All right. Yes, Peggy.
I know you got to wrap up, but I just have one quick story to
Sure.
tell. This came from a text from one of my customers the other morning, and she says, when I woke up this morning, this was Tuesday, I thought this was Tuesday a week ago, I thought I had a broken toe. The big toe in my left foot was killing me. It felt swollen. I thought I felt broken bones, which is funny because I was volunteering Monday night and dropped a dining hall chair across the top of my right foot. Anyway, I thought I was stupid. But it was early in the morning, it really hurt, so I grabbed the Renew 28. I put on 3 times and it didn't hurt anymore. And I'm serious, swelling gone. It didn't bother me at all during the day. As I got ready to report this minor miracle, I took a closer look at my toe. The whole thing is deep purple, but it doesn't hurt and there's no inflammation.
Wonderful.
Can't explain it. I just know it helped.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
Again, my introduction was by Peggy, and I just want to give her a compliment for the follow-up that she does do with her clients, because, I do get busy, and she reminds me about something, or she's called to say there is this special, or just so many different times or things that I might be, well, I don't think about it. And so I really want to give her a compliment. I don't know if all of the associates are like that, but that would be I'm scared not scared, but I'm not interested in being an associate necessarily, but I don't know that I could do all that follow-up all the time.
That's a great point. Yeah, that's a great point. And we do love that we have wonderful associates in here that are there to help guide. So,
And I didn't even pay her to say that.
right. Well, we do appreciate everyone's participation tonight. We're so grateful that you joined us. Peggy, what a fabulous job and great information you shared about your journey, your husband's journey, and we so appreciate that. I would like to remind everyone that we do record these and they're posted on the Creation Chiropractic YouTube channel. And if you have other questions, just get with the person who invited you to this Zoom, and they would be happy to introduce or share more information with you. So I am going to say goodnight, and we will be having another Zoom guest that we will interview in 2 weeks on August 20th, where we will hear more about how Redox is changing people's lives. So until then, we hope you'll join us in 2 weeks. Have a great night, everyone.
Thanks, guys.